There's an episode of The Sopranos during the final season in which Tony is singing a song called Under the Boardwalk. Somebody schlong in Jan's mouth. And then Jan's husband beats her up. It was not a reference to this very obscure movie from 19, I don't even know what year. 1980 something. Nick Rainwood, Richard Joseph Paul, and Ali Yorpin, Diane von Zernick, boy, that's a name. Modern day Romeo and Juliet living in South Carolina, separated by the unbridgeable gulf of their backgrounds, and torn between loyalty to their gangs and their real desires. This is a tale of two star-crossed lovers trying to overcome the rivalry, prejudice, and violence of the high-charged surf scene, where all hopes and fears come to a head in a final surf contest, a surf to the death duel, featuring music of the Drifters, the Untouchables, Surf Punks, the Smithereens, and the Broadcasters. Boy, that's a freaking name right there. Who is directed by Fritz Kirsch, who also did Tough Turf. It's Romeo and Juliet mixed with South Side Story and surfing. Surfing movies were, of course, popular during this time. This one's pretty obscure with only 519 people rating it on the IMDb. I had to get this from the ABC library. I'm like, where the heck is the ABC library? Well, turns out it's from the Albuquerque, Albuquerque, Bernalillo, County Library System. Yes, I am dead serious, and no, they don't, there's no reference to Bugs Bunny making a left turn there. This movie is 1980s beach culture at its finest, and also a love of surfing. So you get the guys that love to surf. You get them. It's like we get beginning where people are saying, "Hey," and there's a guy who speaks like Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and we have a guy with a beard who's reminiscing about the past and everything that was going on and what he was doing there, and of course we get the I don't know, the Vicks and the whatever, the locos or something like that, the rich and the poor, where the punks themselves are playing actually some good like punk rock or heavy metal, which I'm like, okay, this is actually a very good soundtrack. And we also get some 1960s music representing like the Beach Boys and the more innocuous times. So I did like the clash of the ideals there, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm like, all I want to do, and I was like, now I want to hear some Beach Boys. We do get the what was that? The punk surfers cover of Ballroom Blitz. That was actually a good cover, which represents the frenetic energy. And then we get the stereotypical love scenes. We get the person who's trying to thinking about the future and stuff like that, and saying, hey, $30,000 a year and you get sponsorship and stuff like that, but you have to become corporate, and we get that being dismissed at the end. So I was like, this movie covers all the tropes and conventions, and I'm like, I mean, it's fine. I it's fine. It just didn't do much for me. And like I said, don't let me ruin your enjoyment of it. It's just exactly what you're getting. We get some good surfing. Okay, to be fair, we do get some good surfing, especially when when the wave is starting to crest in and you can just see them surf. And I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. We get to see the race going on, like where they all forehead out and they have to try and complete the challenge, which I'm like, well, okay then. A bunch of colors. You get the neon. You get the babes. You get everyone wearing their beach attire. I'm like, yeah, it's a nice movie, but it just follows all the conventions and everything else. So yeah, with all that being said, it's like, does it feel like it needs to be 103 minutes. Maybe not. I don't know. This is one of those movies I feel conflicted about, but then again, because it's two movies on one disc, there were no subtitles, and I had to have the volume up. And it was like one of my pet peeves, honestly. So, like I said, maybe I could be wrong, and I know there are going to be some people who make comments saying, oh, like, oh, it's this and this. I'm just like, well, hey, more power to you. Like I said, just be like, hey, just view it this way or that way. Whatever. Ultimately, it's fine. Under the boardwalk, just make sure that there's no schlong in Jan's mouth.